Alright, this is my very first flying with my Skydio 2. Getting it off the ground was very, very easy by the book, by the directions. So that was very easy. And now I'm turning it around to find myself and my wife, Mary. And so then I focus on, actually I'm having it follow her. I'm doing this all by my phone at this point. I wanted to try my phone out first. It was a basic thing to try out. You see, it's got a nice picture, nice view. I'm running 4K by 30 frames per second today. I learned how to update that later, so I'll show you a video from that later when I've got that done. But she's running, trying to lose it. I had moved the drone out in front of her, so just to see how well it tracks. I moved it up a little bit, and then she changed directions. As you can see, the drone will try to find where it thinks the front of her is, and she's running. So she wants to run up into some of these trees to see if how the collision avoidance works. I'm beginning to worry about her this time because I'm a long ways from my phone. And you'll see her turn around after I ask her to come back. And the drone, once again, figures out where the front of her is and comes around her again and avoids that big old pole, which is good. Hitting the pole on the first day would not be good. Then she's coming towards me some more. I thought the tracking was wonderful. It really seemed to do a very good job. Didn't seem to have any problems avoiding things at this point. Once again, okay, so then I am doing a droney. So this is one of the features. I'll try to show some of the other stuff later, but this was the first one to try. It went way up in the sky. It's almost disconcerting the first day when it goes that high. You're always afraid the gravity is going to bring it to the ground right away or something. But I guess its job is to fly, so hopefully it does that well. Then it came down, and I wasn't sure why it came down that low. But then now this is my first attempt at landing, and one thing to note when you're landing it, you need to get the camera all facing all the way straight down and go over the top of the drone case if you're trying to land on the drone case. I did not do that the first time and did not know to do that the first time, and thus landed in the grass, which wasn't horrific, just was not what I had planned to do. In this section, I was running it through it's a trail right through the middle of some trees and stuff to see how well it would avoid hitting items, and it did a fine job. And then we took it down to the track, and where we were going to try the beacon. And as you can see, this second time I finally figured out kind of how to land it, and it does land quite well, like it should on the drone case, which I find very handy. That keeps it out of the grass and such. So now I've got the controller out. Later on I'll show you some more stuff with the beacon, but I've got the controller out and was kind of seeing how that worked. One thing I did not like is and I've heard some people saying the controller feels a little cheap. Maybe it does. It just feels like a normal kind of an Xbox controller type deal, but it wasn't that I had the problem with. I have one of the larger X phones, the was it the X Pro or X Max or whatever it is. It's a 10X. It's a 10 Pro or whatever. It's a bigger one, and I have a good case on it because, well, it needs a good case to make sure it doesn't break or anything. This controller does not allow for you to put that phone in that controller with the case on it. It's just not big enough. It doesn't widen up far enough. Now when I pulled the case off, it worked, but it kind of sucks that every time I want to use a controller with my phone, I'm going to have to pull the pull the case off the phone in order to do so, therefore exposing my phone to possible damage if it should slide out of there or something. But anyway, small complaint. Other than that, as you can see, kind of the ups and downs, and I just, like I said, this is the very first time I had the controller out at all. It took me a little while to figure out how to move it around, and so then I was able to do so, and the basic controls worked very easy. I thought I've got it on just the default setting. I didn't try to mess around with how the controls worked. I thought I'd just get used to that, and it's a matter of, now I didn't want to challenge to see if it could avoid those trees or not. I just went up over them, and as you can see, it's a very beautiful, very pretty shot of our tennis courts and such. And I moved up over the top, and that's kind of how that went. Moved up further over the top. And by the way, easiest way using the controller, and many of you may or may not know this, is just pay attention to the controller itself. Don't worry about where the drone's at per se. Once I got up here, I suddenly realized that, oh, my battery's really low. So I hit the button to bring it back, and it did exactly what it was supposed to. I think I brought it back to the phone location. But it came back, and then I told it to land right away because I didn't want it to fall. And it landed quite well on the area there. It didn't land on the case. I didn't think I had time for that, so I just brought it in for a quick landing. So here I am on day 2. I got the controller out, and I've gone down to a local park, and I wanted to see how it did down there. And as you can see, takeoff is rather painless. Takeoff always seems to be pretty painless. I have not tried letting it take off from my hand yet. That'll be coming up, I suppose. And there's a little creek down there, and some bridges and a silo that I wanted to see how well I could get pictures of, and all of that went very well. The control is not hard. I wanted to get my camera down where I could see with the trees and stuff, but as you can see, now I also put the low-end filter on it in the morning when I did this to see what it was like, and the low-end filter seemed to do a really good job. But yeah, as you can, I'm coming over the bridge. I was manually controlling it very easily. It was doing what I was wanting it to do. And then you'll see me fly over the bridge, then turn right to take some shots of the old silo that's also there at the park. So now I learned to turn. It's easy to confuse if you've never flown a drone, and I had not. Easy to confuse the left and right from the rotate right and rotate left initially. But after you get kind of used to it and get used to looking at your controller and not paying attention to where the drone's at, just kind of imagine it as a video game, and you can control the drone pretty well. I thought it was a really pretty shot, nice shot of the silo. You see the dog running out across there. And this here is down the opposite direction from the creek. I just came in. I came in when I thought a little low, so I raised it up a little bit and kept going. As you can see, the creek's got a little white water off to the left there. It's not a very big creek, but it's pretty enough. By the way, on the first part when I was near the silo, I got a thing that a message saying that it was the signal was getting weak. I don't understand why the signal was getting weak. It really wasn't that far away from me. It was certainly with line of sight. I couldn't hear it, but it was just over the trees, so it shouldn't have had that problem with the controller, but anyway, it may have been a fluke. And then I came down somewhat and learned to move the camera back up with the controller. Movement of the camera up and down is pretty critical to getting good shots, from what I can tell so far. And here I am trying to land it. You'll see my first attempt fail. As I said earlier, I had not learned completely how to get this thing landed on the case. The case is a little close to me, I suppose. Maybe I should have moved it a little further away, but it shouldn't matter. And I came down and realized it was not doing what I wanted to. Then I got over further, moved the camera a little bit, and got the camera over the top of the case. Landing takes a little bit getting used to, I think. It doesn't take too long. This is, like I said, this is my second day, so it's not like I've, spent hours working on this. So this was another short flight. I just wanted to get the bridge again. You can see I come in a little close to this tree, and it happily avoids the tree, which is always a good thing. And then I'm just trying to get the like an end-on view of the bridge. So it takes me a little bit, but and also I'm trying to learn how to slide sideways and rotate at the same time with the controller, using the controller still. So anyway, I lined this up fairly well. I thought it was a nice shot. And then I take another swing at landing, and this time I think I get it done pretty good. You see me now. If you look at the controller, there's a little symbol showing where in space the drone is. You saw me push the landing button when I thought I was over the top, and had the camera all the way down. And as you can see, it is focusing in on the case quite well, and did a perfect landing. So I'm getting better with that. I want to add, on this last flight that I took for that morning, I was running out of batteries. It gave me a message saying that it did not have enough satellites, and that my height ceiling would be adjusted. So that kind of didn't freak me out, but it didn't seem like it affected it a great deal. But it was, I guess, a warning that I, from wherever I was, I had not locked onto enough satellites in order to go as high as it might be able to. So I don't think it was a serious issue. It didn't like stop flying or tell me I couldn't fly. It just said that it adjusted the height ceiling, whatever that means. I don't know what the height ceiling was after the thing went off, but it seemed like it went high enough. I went up over here to kind of see the road from the place I was at, and but other than that, it flew great. So later that same day, the second day anyway, we decided to go test the beacon out. So we left pretty much all the other controllers, except for my phone, of course. I hooked my, you connect your controller to your phone, your beacon to the phone, and then have it take off. And it did what it's supposed to. It took off, it turned around, we were all ready to go, and as you'll see, the thing, instead of locking onto me or my wife, it locked onto my car. And I had to land it and take off again in order to get it to focus on the two of us. So it was a little bit inconvenient, but not bad. And I guess the car was the biggest thing to track onto. And with the beacon, you really can't tell what it's locked onto very well. Took great shots of the car, though. So we moved away from the car and did another launch with the beacon, and it worked much better. So in this here, I'm just kind of showing some highlights. It did a very, very nice job of this. I was really happy with this particular thing here. It followed us. We kind of lost behind that, but not lost very long, and it picked us up again. It was rather interesting that for some reason along the way it decided that Mary was the target to follow, and then later you'll see it changes its mind, and I'm not quite sure why, but it didn't really matter for us in this case. For right now it looks like it's following me, but when you see Mary kind of run in front of me and take the corner up here, it's obviously now, see, now watch it, it now looks like it's following her. So I don't know if it's because she moved in front of me for a little bit and it couldn't tell the two of us apart and then decided to follow her. You'll see that now it's obviously following her. And she'll reverse and it'll come back out here and it'll follow her again. But later on it moved back to me for some reason. So I'm not sure what happens when it switches like that, or why it switches like that in this case. Like I said, it didn't hurt anything, didn't affect the thing because we were walking together. But it did seem to switch. You can tell I'm kind of tinkering with the settings as we go to get it further away or closer or a different side of us. I tried to keep it away from the traffic, although it never tried to run away with any of the cars. It handled that well. I just didn't want it flying over the top of traffic. That probably wouldn't be a good idea. And then the battery ran low and I switched batteries. By the way, switching batteries and starting the thing up again is just extraordinarily easy with the magnetic batteries. It's just, you take it, you plug it in, you reconnect it, and you're ready to go again. You can see it switched back around and found me again. Avoided the pole. You can take manual control with the beacon. I haven't tried it yet. So what I'm doing now is it's been kind of following us off to the side for quite a while. I switched the settings to have it kind of hover around us in a circle, and it does fine doing that as well. It's obviously tracking me again. And that's about it for this video. Hope you guys hit the like and have enjoyed this. I plan on having some more learning videos and just nice videos, or hopefully nice videos, to show off the Skydio and how I get with it. That's all. Thanks.